Welcome to this space where you can relax, reflect, and grow whether you're lying in bed, going for a walk, or simply taking a quiet moment to yourself. I want you to breathe deeply and just be here with me in this moment. This podcast is about something we all experience, something we try to avoid, something we often fear. Failure. It's a word that carries so much weight, so much emotion. It can feel heavy, personal, even painful. But what if I told you failure is not the end? What if I told you it's only the beginning? In this journey together, we will explore why failing is not only natural but essential. Essential for success, essential for growth, essential for becoming who you are meant to be. We live in a world that often celebrates the highlight reel, the victories, the trophies, the awards. We see people's perfect lives on social media. We hear their success stories, but not always the struggle behind them. Not the sleepless nights, not the doubts, not the moments when they almost gave up. But the truth is, every success story is built on failure. Every champion has been broken. Every winner has lost. Every creator has felt the sting of rejection. And so have you. Maybe you failed a test. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe a dream slipped through your fingers. Maybe you felt like you weren't good enough, or smart enough, or strong enough. But let me remind you gently and truthfully, failure does not define you. What defines you is how you respond. In this solo podcast, I'll walk with you through 10 deep and thoughtful sections. Together, we'll look at what failure really means, how it shapes us, and how it leads us not away from our dreams but closer to them. There will be no rush, no pressure, just peace, space to reflect, and stories both real and relatable to comfort you, challenge you, and encourage you. So take a deep breath. Let's begin. Let's continue gently and thoughtfully with section 1, the meaning of failure. Failure, it's a word we've all heard many times, maybe in school, maybe at work, maybe whispered in your own mind when something didn't go the way you hoped. But what is failure really? Let's pause here for a moment and breathe. In and out. In and out. Feel yourself settle. Let your shoulders drop. Let your thoughts soften. Now, ask yourself gently without judgment, what does failure mean to me? For some, failure feels like shame. For others, it feels like a weight on the chest, like disappointment pressing down. For many, it means I wasn't good enough. But is that really true? Let's look closer. Failure isn't a fixed outcome. It's not a permanent label. It's not a life sentence. Failure is simply an unexpected result. That's it. You expected one thing and something else happened. You studied hard but didn't pass the test. You tried a business but it didn't succeed. You gave your heart to someone but they walked away. You made a promise to yourself but you didn't keep it. And in that moment, it feels like something broke. Your confidence, your courage, your hope. But what if that breaking was part of becoming? What if failure isn't a wall but a door? Let's imagine a child learning to walk. She takes a step, of wobbles and falls. Does anyone say she failed, she'll never walk? Of course not. We cheer for her, we smile. We say, try again, because we know it's part of the process. But as we grow older, we lose that compassion. We forget that every skill we've ever learned, from walking to talking to reading, began with mistakes. What if we treated ourselves with the same kindness? What if failure wasn't a sign of weakness? A sign that we're trying, that we're reaching, risking growing? Because here's something I want you to remember tonight. If you're failing, it means you're alive. It means you're daring. It means you're doing something that matters. Success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about using failure, learning from it, listening to it, growing through it. Thomas Edison once said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's not stubbornness, that's wisdom. That's patience. That's belief. You see, the most successful people in the world aren't the ones who never failed. They're the ones who failed the most and kept going. They failed and they learned. They failed and they adjusted. They failed and they refused to quit. Because failure, my friend, is not the end of the road. It's part of the road. It's not a sign to stop, it's a signal to pause, reflect, and pivot. So tonight, I invite you to gently rewrite your definition of failure. It is not who you are. It is not your destiny. It is simply feedback. It's data. It's a message from the world saying, that way didn't work, try another. And that is a gift. In the next part of this section, we'll explore how failure opens doors we didn't even know existed, and why some of the best things in life come after our biggest disappointments. But for now, take a deep breath. You're doing better than you think, and you're not failing, you're becoming. Let's continue with the next part, the unexpected gifts hidden in failure. Take a moment to close your eyes if you like. Now think back to a time in your life when something didn't go the way you planned. A failure, a closed door, a painful rejection. It may have hurt deeply. Maybe it still does. But now ask yourself this. What came next? What happened after the fall? Because sometimes the things we call failures end up guiding us to something better. Something we never imagined. Something more aligned with who we truly are. It's not always easy to see it in the moment. But when we look back, we start to realize that failure was redirecting us. Sometimes failure is the world's way of saying, you were aiming too small. That wasn't the right time. There's something better coming. Imagine someone who wanted a certain job. They prepared, they interviewed, they gave it everything. But they didn't get it. They felt crushed. They thought I failed. But a few months later, they were offered another opportunity, one they hadn't even dreamed of. A job that fit them better, a team that inspired them. A path they wouldn't trade for anything. And in that moment, they realized that rejection was a redirection. That's the quiet magic of failure. We often think success is a straight line pointed to point B, but real life isn't a straight line. It's full of curves, detours, unexpected turns. And the sooner we stop resisting that, the more peace we'll find. Failure slows us down so we can listen. It invites us to look deeper, to ask, is this what I truly want? Is this the right path for me? Am I growing or just going? Sometimes when we're too focused on one goal, we miss what's around us. But failure wakes us up. It says pause. It says reflect. It says maybe there's another way. And that's a beautiful thing. Let's think of some examples. A student fails an exam, but that moment makes them realize their passion lies in a different subject altogether. They change majors and find their true calling. An artist's work is rejected, but that push leads them to create something more personal, more honest, more powerful than ever before. A relationship ends, but in that quiet aftermath, they reconnect with themselves, rediscover their voice, and become whole in ways they never imagined. These are not stories of defeat. They are stories of becoming. Because failure isn't falling down. It's staying down that breaks us. But getting back up, that's where the strength is born. Every failure carries a message. Not of shame, but of clarity. Not of defeat, but of direction. So next time something doesn't work out, next time you feel like you failed, pause. Take a breath, and ask, what is this trying to teach me? Where is this trying to lead me? You might not know the answer right away. And that's okay. The wisdom will come, sometimes slowly, sometimes in pieces. But it always comes, because failure is not your enemy. Failure is your teacher. In the next part of this section, we'll talk about how failure builds humility, and why humility is the hidden strength behind every true success story. But for now, just sit with this truth. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are learning. And you're exactly where you need to be. Let's continue softly and gently with failure and the power of humility. Welcome back. Let's breathe together again. Inhale slowly and exhale deeply. You're safe here. You're understood here. This is your time to rest, reflect, And remember that even the difficult moments serve a purpose. Now let's talk about something most people overlook when they think about failure: humility. When we fail, something inside us softens. Our pride, our certainty, our sense of control. Failure brings us face to face with our limits. And that can feel scary, but it can also be incredibly powerful. Because in that moment, when the ego quiets down, we become open to learning, open to feedback, open to others, open to life. And that openness, that humility, is what makes real growth possible. Think about a time when you made a mistake and had to say, "I was wrong." It might have felt uncomfortable, vulnerable, even painful. But wasn't there also something freeing about it? There's a quiet strength in admitting we don't know everything. There's wisdom in saying, "I need help." There's courage in acknowledging, "I thought I could, but I couldn't this time." This is not weakness, this is maturity. In fact, many of the world's most respected leaders are not the ones who pretend to be perfect. They are the ones who are honest, who are human, who say, "I failed, I learned, I changed." Because humility creates connection. It allows others to relate to us, to trust us, to walk with us. And in a world full of masks and perfectionism, honesty is refreshing. When you share your failure with someone, not in self-pity, but in self-reflection, you invite them into your growth. You say, "I am learning. I am real. I am not alone, and neither are you." And that, my friend, is beautiful. Let's go even deeper. Humility also helps us stay curious. Have you ever noticed that when you think you know it all, you stop asking questions? You stop exploring, you stop listening. But when you fail, you begin to wonder again. Why didn't that work? What can I do differently? Who can teach me something new? That curiosity is a spark. It's the beginning of discovery. And it only comes when we let go of certainty. Humility says, "I still have more to learn." And that mindset, that humble hunger for knowledge, is what keeps us growing. So if you failed and you're feeling small, remember, smallness is not the enemy. Sometimes it's only when we feel small that we're able to see big. Sometimes it's only when we fall that we're able to look up. Humility allows us to become students again. And every student has the potential to become a master. Failure humbles us, but that humility becomes the soil where strength can grow. In the next part of this section, we'll explore the connection between failure and patience, why failure teaches us to slow down and trust the process. But for now, close your eyes if you haven't already. Breathe in gently and let it out slowly. You are not failing. You are learning to listen again. And that is a quiet kind of wisdom. Wonderful. Let's continue gently with how failure teaches patience and trust. Welcome back. Take a moment, settle into stillness. Let's breathe again. Inhale slowly through your nose. Exhale gently through your mouth. Now feel the quiet strength within you. Even if today was hard, even if your heart is heavy, you showed up. You're listening, that matters. Let's talk about patience. In today's fast-paced world, we expect things quickly. We want instant results, fast answers, immediate success. But life doesn't always work that way. And failure, though painful, reminds us of something important. Growth takes time. Imagine planting a seed in the soil. Would you expect it to become a tree overnight? Of course not. You water it, you give it sunlight, you wait. And for a while, it looks like nothing is happening. But underneath the surface, everything is changing. Roots are forming. Foundations are building. The invisible work is being done. And then one day a little green sprout appears. Delicate, small, but full of promise. That's what failure does. It sends us underground for a while. It slows us down. It makes us feel invisible. But that's not the end. That's the rooting stage. We're building strength where no one can see it. We're developing patience, resilience, and quiet conflict. So many people give up not because they failed, but because they thought it was taking too long. But beautiful things are real things, lasting things are lasting things. They take time. Think of the caterpillar. It doesn't become a butterfly overnight. It enters the cocoon dark, tight, still. And there, something miraculous happens. It falls apart completely and becomes something new. But only if it waits. Failure forces us into cocoons sometimes. Places where we're unsure and seen and certain. But those are the places where transformation begins. And here's something else. When we fail and we don't quit, we begin to build trust. Not just in the world, but in ourselves. You begin to realize, I didn't get it right the first time. Or maybe the second, but I'm still here, I'm still trying. And with every step forward, however small, you prove to yourself, I can keep going. This is not just patience, it's power. Because the strongest people are not those who succeed the fastest. They are the ones who keep showing up, even when it's slow, even when it's hard. Let me tell you something gently, in case no one has told you lately. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to pause. It's okay to grow slowly. You are not late. You are not behind. You are on your path. Let failure be your teacher in patience. Let the delay build your depth. Let the waiting build your strength. Because one day when the breakthrough comes, when the sprout appears, when the wings emerge, you'll realize it was all worth it. In the next part of this section, we'll talk about how failure teaches creativity, why some of our most innovative, beautiful ideas are born only after things fall apart. But for now, rest in this truth. You are not failing. You are rooting. You are becoming. Beautiful. Let's move gently into the next part. Failure unlocks creativity. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in softly through your nose. Exhale slowly through your mouth. Now let your mind open like a calm, still lake. We've talked about how failure humbles us, teaches us patience, and helps us grow beneath the surface. Now let's explore another quiet gift that failure brings: creativity. Yes, creativity. Because when your first plan doesn't work, when your comfort zone falls apart, when everything familiar breaks down, you're forced to look at the world differently. You ask questions you didn't ask before. You try methods you hadn't considered. You begin to improvise, to imagine, to invent. That is creativity in its purest form. Some of the most groundbreaking inventions, some of the most unforgettable works of art, some of the most moving pieces of music and writing, they didn't come from perfect conditions. They came from people who failed, people who were told no, people who had doors slammed in their faces, people who broke down and then rebuilt something new. Failure clears the canvas. It wipes away what wasn't working. And it invites you to start again with more color, more honesty, more soul. When we fail, we stop relying on what's safe or conventional. We ask, what else is possible? What haven't I tried yet? What do I really want to create? Suddenly, the rules don't matter as much, because we've already broken them. We've already fallen. So now we're free. Free to imagine. Free to experiment. Free to try things just to see what happens. Let's think of a few quiet, powerful examples. An entrepreneur launches a business, and it flops. They feel like they've lost everything. But in the aftermath, they start journaling, processing, drawing, and slowly a new idea forms, a more honest one. One built not on market trends, but on heart. A writer's first book is rejected by every publisher. But in that space of rejection, they begin to write without pressure, without trying to impress anyone. They write from their soul, and that becomes their masterpiece. A dancer is injured and can no longer perform as before, but instead of quitting, they begin choreographing, teaching, creating movement in a whole new way. None of these second chapters would have happened without failure, because when one path ends, 1,000 others begin. You may not see them at first. You may sit in the dark, confused and afraid. But if you keep your heart open, ideas will come, not all at once, but piece by piece. Failure stirs the imagination. It cracks us open, and through the cracks light gets in. And when we stop trying to be perfect, we become authentic. And authenticity, that's where the deepest, richest creativity flows from. So if you failed, good, you've been given a gift. Now ask yourself, what can I create now that I'm free? What would I build if I didn't care about approval? What truth is waiting inside me? Let failure be your starting point. Let it be the blank page. Let it be the silence before the symphony. You are not broken. You are on the edge of something new. And that new might be the most beautiful thing you've ever made. In the next part of this section, we'll talk about how failure deepens empathy and why people who've struggled are often the ones who lift others the most. But for now, rest in this truth. You are more creative than you know. And sometimes it takes failure to unlock it. Let's continue gently and warmly. How failure deepens empathy. Welcome again, friend. Let's come back to the breath. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. And let go of everything that happened today. You are here, safe, and ready to receive a quiet truth. Failure deepens your heart. Yes, that might sound surprising. But think of it this way. Before you failed, you may have seen the world through a narrow lens. Perhaps things came easily. Or maybe you just hadn't yet felt deep loss. Or rejection, or disappointment. But once you felt once life bends you, your heart softens. And suddenly, you start to see others differently. You notice the person struggling in silence. You feel the pain in someone else's eyes. You recognize the weariness behind a fake smile. Why? Because you've been there. You felt heartbreak. You've sat in silence, wondering if you were enough. You've questioned everything, including yourself. And now, your heart isn't just yours anymore. It belongs to every other soul who's stumbled. Every person who's been told you're not good enough. Every dreamer who hit a wall. This is empathy. Not just understanding with your mind, but feeling with your heart. It's not sympathy. You're not looking down from above, offering pity. You're kneeling beside someone saying, I know how that feels, I've been there too. And when you do that, you create connection, healing, trust. People don't always need advice. Sometimes they just need to know they're not alone. And because you failed, you can offer that. You become a safe place, a warm presence, a reminder that it's okay to fall and that rising is still possible. Let's be honest, there's something deeply comforting about hearing someone say, I messed up too. I doubted myself too. I broke down too, but I'm still here. It's in those shared failures that friendships deepen. That leadership becomes real. That love becomes unconditional. Think of the people who've helped you the most in life. Were they perfect? Probably not. But were they honest? Were they kind? Did they understand your pain? Likely, yes, because they'd walked through their own. So, never be ashamed of your failures. They are not stains, they are stories. And stories are how we heal each other. Empathy isn't weakness. It's strength born from suffering. It's wisdom soaked in tears. And those who failed and gotten back up, they carry a quiet power. The power to lift, to listen, to love more deeply than ever before. So the next time you feel broken, remember, your heart is not shattered. It's opening. Opening to others. Opening to compassion. Opening to a world that needs more softness, more care, more truth. You're not just growing stronger. You're growing kinder. And kindness might be the most powerful success of all. In the final part of this section, we'll explore one last truth. Failure builds character and character shapes our destiny. But for now, rest. You're doing beautifully. Let's continue this peaceful journey. how failure builds character. Now, let's talk about something timeless, something strong. Character. Character is not charm. It's not talent. It's not intelligence, status, or appearance. Character is who you are when no one's watching. It's how you show up when everything falls apart. It's the choices you make in the dark when no applause is coming, when no one is validating your effort. Failure is where character is born. When things go wrong and your plans crumble, that's when your true self is revealed and also reshaped. In those moments you ask, will I quit? Will I blame others? Will I lie, hide, pretend? Or to really will I face it? Will I learn? Will I take responsibility and begin again? Every time you choose integrity over escape, every time you admit you were wrong, every time you stay honest, even when it hurts, you're building something inside you, something unshakable. Let me tell you this gently. People may forget your achievements. They may forget your trophies or titles, but they will never forget your character. They'll remember how you treated others when you were hurting. They'll remember if you stayed kind under pressure. They'll remember if you rose again, not with bitterness, but with humility and grace. That is rare, and it is precious. Character isn't built in moments of comfort. It's forged in moments of trial, like steel and fire. And every failure, it is fire. It strips away ego, burns away pride, and leaves behind the core of who you are. Now, listen closely. Success without character is shallow. Fame without grounding is dangerous. Talent without humility can destroy you. But failure, when accepted with courage, becomes the foundation of a life that matters. It makes you trustworthy. It makes you wise. It makes you real. People follow character. They're drawn to it. Because in a world full of noise, truth is magnetic. So when you fail and you will, don't just try to recover your reputation. Recover your character. Ask, who am I becoming through this? Am I braver? Am I wiser? Am I more compassionate? Let every setback shape you, not to scar you. Let every fall refine you, not define you. Because at the end of the day, success fades, but character remains. When the lights go out, when the stage is empty, you will still be there with the strength you earned from every fall. You'll stand quietly, calmly, without needing applause. Because you'll know you have become someone of substance. In the next section of this podcast, we'll move into section 2, the psychology of failure, how the mind responds and recovers. We'll explore what's happening inside us when we fall, and how to gently navigate those emotional waves. But for now, rest in this powerful truth. Every failure is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more whole. You are becoming. We've explored how failure shapes our character, unlocks creativity, and deepens empathy. Now, let's step into the quiet inner world, the mind. Because when we fail, it's not just our plans that are affected. It's our thoughts, our identity, our emotions. Let's begin by understanding what happens immediately after failure. Imagine this. You've tried your best. You've poured time, energy, and heart into something, but it doesn't work. You don't get the job. The project collapses. The relationship ends. The effort goes unnoticed. What happens next? A flood. Disappointment. Shock. Embarrassment. Self-doubt. Frustration. Sometimes even shame. The brain perceives failure as a threat, not just to your success, but to your sense of self. Why? Because we've been taught often unconsciously that success equals worth, that achievement equals identity, that doing well equals being enough. So when we fail, the brain sounds the alarm. The nervous system tightens, your thoughts spiral. You may hear the inner critic whisper things like, I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. Everyone is judging me. I shouldn't have even tried. These thoughts aren't the truth. They're emotional echoes, waves sent out by a brain trying to protect you. But here's what most people don't know. The brain doesn't distinguish between failure and danger. It reacts the same way. It sees failure as rejection, and rejection historically meant exclusion from the group, which once meant death. So your reaction, it's ancient, biological, normal. Let's pause here. Let's make space for compassion. Because that voice in your head, it's not your enemy. It's just scared. It's trying to keep you safe, even if it sounds harsh. Your job isn't to fight that voice, it's to soothe it, to sit with it like a frightened child and say, "Oh, it's okay, we're okay, this doesn't define us. We're still safe, we're still worthy." The emotional impact of failure is real, but it's also temporary. It passes, just like a storm. What helps in those early moments? Gentleness, stillness, talking to someone you trust, journaling without judgment, going outside, breathing slowly, letting yourself cry if you need to. Remember, you don't have to rush to recover. You don't have to turn your pain into a lesson right away. You can simply feel, let the feelings move through you without attaching to them. They will fade. And when they do, something new begins to rise. In the next part of this section, we'll explore why we personalize failure and how to separate failure from identity. But for now, just know, if your heart feels heavy, that's okay. If your thoughts feel messy, that's okay. If you're questioning your worth, just breathe it. You are not your failure. You are the one experiencing it. And you will rise. Now let's talk about something many of us do without realizing. Personalizing failure. We've all done it. You miss a deadline. You stumble during a presentation. Your business idea doesn't take off. And suddenly it's not just a mistake. It becomes, I'm a failure. I'm not cut out for this. I'm worthless. Why do we do this? Because somewhere along the way, many of us were taught to tie our value to our performance. We got praise when we succeeded, loved when we did well, noticed when we excelled, and over time, we began to believe, if I win, I matter. If I lose, I don't. But this is a dangerous lie. Let me say it clearly for your heart to hear. You are not your results. You are not your grades. You are not your income. You're not your titles. You're not your last mistake. You are something much deeper, something immeasurable. Now here's the truth. Failure is an event, not an identity. It's something that happens, not something you are. Think of it like weather. A storm rolls in. The sky darkens. Rain pours. But the storm doesn't change the sky itself. The sky is still there, unchanged behind the clouds. You are the sky. Failure is a passing storm. But when we personalize failure, we turn a single experience into a permanent story. We brand ourselves with it. We say, because this went wrong, it must be wrong. This kind of thinking doesn't just hurt, it limits you. It keeps you small. It stops you from trying again. It builds a cage in your mind and calls it safety. So how do we break that pattern? Let me offer you a few gentle tools. 1. Separate the action from the self. Instead of saying I failed, say, this situation didn't go the way I hoped. Instead of I'm not good enough, say, I'm still learning, this is part of the process. Language matters. It shapes how you see yourself. Be mindful of how you speak to others, and especially to yourself. 2. Use your name. When you're being hard on yourself, try talking to yourself using your own name. Instead of I'm such a mess, say your name. It's okay, you're human, you're growing. This creates emotional distance and softens self-criticism. It reminds you that you're not your thoughts, you're the one observing them. 3. Identify the story. Ask, what am I telling myself about this failure? Am I saying I'm not smart, not lovable, that I'll never succeed? Then ask, is this story true? Or is it old, outdated, inherited? Often we realize we're carrying beliefs that were never ours to begin with. For normalized falling, everyone fails everyone. Even the people you admire most. They just don't always talk about it. But behind every success is a trail of attempts, rejections, missteps, and lessons. You're not broken, you're on the path. You're in progress. 5. Anchor in self-worth. Remind yourself regularly, I am worthy even when I fall. Self-worth isn't earned through success. It's something you claim just by existing. You're enough now, right now, even in the mess, even in the confusion, even with the pain. You are enough. Let that truth settle softly in your chest. In the next part of this section, we'll explore how failure actually reshapes the brain and how we can use that process to grow stronger, wiser, and more confident. But for now, give yourself permission to release the labels. You are not your failure. You are not broken. You are beautiful in progress. Let's look at how failure affects your brain, not just emotionally, but physiologically. Because here's a secret many don't realize. Your brain can grow because of failure, not in spite of it, because of it. Let's begin with a term from neuroscience: neuroplasticity. It means your brain is constantly changing. It rewires itself based on experience. Every time you face a new challenge, every time you make a mistake, every time you fall and get back up, your brain changes. Connections are formed, patterns are strengthened, new ways of thinking are created. And this process, it's strongest when you fail. Why? Because success confirms what you already know. But failure shows you what you still need to learn. It wakes up parts of your brain that were sleeping. Let's take an example. Imagine you're learning a new language. You pronounce a word wrong. You make a grammar mistake. You feel embarrassed. But here's what's happening inside your brain. Your neurons are firing. Your memory pathways are being reshaped. Your brain is learning what not to do and adapting in real time. That's growth. That's intelligence. That's transformation. The same thing happens when you fail in business, in relationships, in school, in life. Your brain doesn't give up. It adjusts if you let it. But here's the key: you have to stay open. When failure happens, the brain has two options: close down, avoid, blame, freeze, or open up, observe, learn, try again. The choice is yours. This is why mindset matters so much. Let's pause for a moment to talk about two mindsets. 1. Fixed mindset. This says, I'm either good at this or I'm not. If I fail, it means I'm not smart. I should avoid failure to protect myself. 2. Growth mindset. This says, I can improve with effort. Failure is part of learning. Mistakes help me grow. The second mindset is where the magic happens. It's where true resilience is born. It's where the brain lights up with possibility. And the best part? You can train yourself to shift into growth. One thought at a time. One breath at a time. So the next time you fail, try saying this: my brain is learning something important right now. I may not see it yet, but I trust the process. Say it gently, say it often. It's not about being perfect. It's about staying present even when things feel messy. Because your brain is listening. And it's adapting. You're becoming more capable, more creative, more courageous, one failure at a time. In the next part, we'll explore how to emotionally bounce back after failure, how to handle the discouragement, and how to stay motivated when it feels easier to give up. But for now, remember this: failure isn't the end of the road. It's your brain's invitation to grow. And you're already growing just by choosing to keep going. We've talked about how failure impacts the brain. Now, let's talk about something just as important: how to emotionally recover. Because even when your mind understands that failure helps you grow, your heart might still feel heavy. You might feel discouraged, unmotivated, tired, like maybe it's just not worth trying again. That's okay, that's human. But here's the truth. You can recover, and not just recover, you can come back stronger. Let's walk through the steps to emotional resilience after failure. 1. Name what you're feeling. The first step is simple but powerful. Name it. Say it to yourself. I feel disappointed. I feel embarrassed. I feel hopeless. I feel numb. When you name an emotion, it no longer controls you. You create distance between yourself and the feeling. It goes from being you to something you're simply experiencing. You're not shame. You're feeling shame. There's a difference. And feelings, when honored, move. They don't last forever. So let them speak. Let them pass. 2. Stop the self-attack. After failure, your inner critic may wake up loud and cruel. It might say things like, "You always mess up. You'll never make it. You should just quit." Pause. Take a breath. And ask, would I talk to a friend this way? If the answer is no, then you deserve better too. Try this instead. I made a mistake, but that doesn't mean I am a mistake. I'm still learning. That's allowed. I don't have to be perfect to be valuable. Your healing begins when your self-talk softens. Be on your side. 3. Remember your why. Failure can cloud your vision. You forget why you started. You lose sight of the purpose. So go back. Ask yourself, why did I begin this journey? What did I care about before this setback? Who am I becoming through this process? Write it down. Say it out loud. Anchor yourself in it. Your why is your compass. It helps you find direction again, even in the fog. 4. Let go of perfection. Sometimes what hurts the most after failure is not the failure itself, but the expectation that we should have succeeded. We feel betrayed by our own hopes. So here's a radical truth. You're allowed to fail. You're allowed to be messy. You're allowed to not have it all figured out. Perfection is not the goal, progress is. Even broken things move forward. Even bad roads lead somewhere beautiful. 5. Take one small step. You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to leap back into full confidence or total clarity. Just take one small step. It could be writing a list, talking to someone, cleaning your room, drinking water, opening your laptop again. One small action can restart the engine. One small step says I haven't given up yet, and that's enough. 6. Make space for grace. Sometimes what you need most after failure is not motivation. It's rest. Let yourself recover. Sleep. Walk. Breathe. Cry. There is healing in stillness. You don't have to prove anything right now. You don't have to perform your recovery. You can just be alive, hurting, healing. That is enough. And slowly your fire will return. Your energy will build. Your heart will remember its rhythm. Because failure does not mean the end. It means you're still in the story. In the next section, we'll move forward. We'll explore how some of the most successful people in history used failure as fuel, and how you can too. But for now, just remember, you are allowed to start again. You're allowed to feel it all, and you're allowed to rise. You've learned it a lot so far. You've seen what failure is, how it affects us, how others have walked through it. But now we ask the deeper question, how do we become resilient? How do we train our minds and hearts to not just survive failure, but to thrive because of it? This section is about that quiet, powerful word, resilience. It's not about being tough. It's not about pretending you're okay. It's not even about bouncing back quickly. Resilience is the art of bending without breaking. It's the inner knowing that says, this moment is hard, but it is not the end of me. And you can build it, not overnight, not perfectly, but daily. So let's explore what psychologists, thinkers, and survivors say about how to develop resilience and how you can too. 1. Understand that resilience is a skill, not a trait. You were not born weak. You are not naturally broken. Resilience is not something people have, it's something people practice. That means anyone, including you, can build it. It's like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. Every time you choose to keep going, to reflect instead of react, to learn instead of quit, you're building mental strength. And just like physical training, it's okay to be shaky in the beginning. The strength comes in the effort. To reframe the narrative, your mind is always telling stories. And after a failure, it might be telling you, I'm not good enough. I'm a loser. This always happens to me. Here's what you can deal. Interrupt the story, reframe it. Instead of I failed, try, I'm learning. This didn't work, but I haven't stopped growing. Every setback is shaping a smarter, stronger me. This isn't toxic positivity. It's cognitive reframing, a proven psychological method to change how your brain interprets experiences. You're not lying to yourself. You're choosing a different lens. 3. Regulate before you respond. Failure can't trigger powerful emotions. Fear, sadness, shame, panic. But here's something most people never learn. You don't have to react right away. Give yourself a pause, a breath, a look, a journal session. This is called emotional regulation, and it's one of the strongest predictors of resilience. The more you practice calming your body before responding, the more wisely and powerfully you'll move through difficult moments. Try this next time you feel overwhelmed. Step 1. Put your hand on your chest. Step 2. Inhale deeply for 4 seconds. Step 3. Exhale slowly for 6 seconds. Step 4. Say this feeling is temporary, I can handle it. These tiny resets build long-term strength. 4. Build a resilient identity. Your identity is your story about who you are. So after failure, it's crucial to ask,